everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and today I'm going to talk about the channel a little bit. This is not a standard update video. This is not what's going on in the foreseeable future. This is what might be going on in Geekvolution for the long-distance future, way down the road, in the next decade. Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years, Captain Logan? This is a topic that was suggested by Kareem Roberts in the Secret Superhero Screen Society on Facebook. That's our Patreon exclusive Facebook group, and I put out feelers for a cool video topic, and he suggested this, and I thought I would tackle it and tell you guys what I'm thinking about what the 2020s might look like. That's what he asked me to talk about. What are my goals for the channel? And what am I hoping to accomplish through the 2020s? So we have recently streamlined the channel, and I'm really happy with how things are going right now and what stuff is looking like. We've really pulled stuff back, and I'm focusing on a few different things rather than trying to put out a video every single day of the week. We've really taken back the oversaturation. I think we're growing at a slightly steadier rate than we were before, subscriber count wise. We've always had positive growth. It's always been we've always been in the green, even if it's only like 100, 150 new subscribers a month. I don't think we've ever stagnated, and that's cool. We have recently been doing a little bit better than that, I suspect, because we're not putting out quite as much content. I've been hearing from a lot of our regular viewers that they're appreciating the more digestible workload that I'm doing now, where it's easier for folks to consume more of our content. Folks that liked to watch most of everything we put out, it was kind of daunting because I was posting just too much. I got really ambitious. I got crazy. I was posting constantly. I was doing too many requests. It's been easier on them, and it's of course been easier on me. I'm less stressed out. I've got a backlog now. I'm not constantly making stuff that's going to get put out tomorrow. I'm now making things that will get put out a month from now, and that's kind of a nice place to be in. And so I think I've been hearing from people that I come off on camera now like I'm a little bit less all over the place and stressed out, and I feel that way too. So hopefully that really is indeed coming across. So I'm really happy with what things are looking like right now, but of course I'm not complacent. I'm not satisfied. I'm always trying to improve it. You guys will notice I still put out polls quite a bit, asking you guys what you think about certain ideas and what you'd like to see happening on the channel. And here's a notion I have: is this is a dumb idea, or is this a thing you'd like to see? I always take you guys' opinion into consideration, and I don't always just go with whatever the consensus is. This is not a democracy. I mean, this is my channel, and at the end of the day, I do make a decision. But I ask for input from the subscribers, from our community all the time, and you guys are invaluable, and obviously just for watching, but also just in your opinions and your ideas. And I'm always open to any ideas you guys have, and I take everything to heart. So anyway, stuff that I want to see happen down the road. The biggest thing that I'm working on right now, and so yes, through the 2020s, but right away, hopefully as soon as humanly possible, I want to get to more consistent output with Superhero Rewind. With a lot of other things that I'm doing, and with my family and life stuff, it's been difficult to get more than a video out a month, maybe 2 if I'm lucky. I want to do better than that. I want to get to where I'm putting out at least 2 a month, if not getting it back to mostly weekly, depending on the video. I mean, there's some things that just take too long to make and make it impossible to put out a video every single week, but Rewind has always been kind of the flagship show of the channel, and with only posting 3 to 4 videos a week, I really want that to be front and center and to be one of the main shows we're making. Right now we've only got 1 weekly show, and that's the Captain Logan Show, and that's because it's an easy show to produce. There is a crowd every week. People seem to really enjoy doing it. It's not a thing I ever thought I would do on that regular of a basis, but it's been working. Folks have been enjoying it, and it's a way for me to kind of condense several things we used to do. So Captain Logan Show is Geeks Not Nerds, and it's open forum, and it's the news stuff. It's all of that combined kind of into one, so that's why we do that every week. But it's the only thing I'm doing weekly now, and I really want to get Rewind back to as close to that as humanly possible, and I'm working on that right now. So through the 2020s, I want that to be much more regular. I want a Rewind at least twice a month. So I want to put out at least, 24 a year? And not necessarily superhero. Like, when I say Rewind, I mean of every ilk. So if I'm doing science fiction rewinds, if I'm finally doing comic book rewinds, because I keep talking about that, but I haven't posted one yet. I have a couple of requests, paid requests for those, so that will have to happen. But I guess my biggest goal, besides getting that regular, is to catch up on the requests, so that I can fulfill those for folks, because I feel bad about how far behind I am on some of those, but also so that it'll make sense for the folks to start doing those again, and I can just be regularly keeping up with that. And again, I don't mean to say that by the end of the 2020s I want to catch up to what I have right now. That will not take 10 years. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it shouldn't, but in the, not so distant future, I want to get to that. So through the 2020s, looking at 10 years ahead, I would like to be more or less caught up. I'd like to, as far as superhero movies go, I'd like to get to the point, because the goal was always to review every superhero movie ever made, and I'm one guy, and I'm mortal, and I'm not going to be here forever, and I'm 35 years old right now. In a decade, I'll be 45. I used to make jokes all the time about, well, I'll be in my 40s by the time I get to this certain thing, whatever it is. I'm only 5 years away now, so like that, I can't joke about that anymore. I'm already getting closer and closer to, being in my 40s, being over the hill or whatever, and so, I'm gonna have to start really buckling down and make that even more of a priority than I ever have, if the goal really is to review every superhero movie ever made. That's what I always wanted to do. I'm 10 years in, and I'm closer. I've reviewed quite a few. There's like, 140 reviews, but there's so many more superhero movies than I ever expected there would be when I started, because it took over the planet, because it's such a popular genre now. It's the genre now. And I didn't think that would happen when I started, but it doesn't change it doesn't change the interest, it doesn't change the goal, it challenges me more, when I see, like, well, there's, hundreds more than I thought there ever would be, I'm just sort of like, well, challenge accepted, like, I really want to do that. When I got halfway into Spawn Year, and it was so daunting, and the material was so bad to read, and I really kind of didn't want to do it anymore, the difficulty level at some point kind of also spurred me on harder, where, like, I had to take a break from it for a while, but when I came back, it was like, nah, I can do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do it just to say I did it, and I want to get through it, and, I started it. I don't like to leave things unfinished if I can help it. Sometimes you can't help it. I'll talk about that later with another project, which it can be unfortunate, but I really want to kind of fulfill that promise I made early on when I said, I want to review every superhero movie ever made, and I don't want Superhero Rewind to necessarily be a defunct series, but there's plenty of other stuff I can do even if I get all the movies done. Like, obviously there will be more movies that continue to come out, but also there's so much television, there's so much stuff I can do with top 10s and series overviews and even singular episodes that might be worth putting under a magnifying glass and spending half an hour to 45 minutes on, with an in-depth story analysis. So I'm never going to run out of material for Rewind, even if I run out of a lot of the movies. And I need to knock out some of the crappier stuff and some of the more obscure stuff, because I don't want a lot of that to be left at the very, very end. So big focus is Superhero Rewind, and in 10 years I'd like to be a lot closer to having every movie that exists, at least right now, reviewed. Daunting, I know, but that's what I want to do. Finishing Counting Crypto Freaks is a big thing. I know I've not been working on that. I have been noodling pretty hard how exactly I want to get back to that series, because I've decided with the streamlining not to continue doing anything episode to episode. There just isn't as much interest in that as there is in talking about seasons of things more broadly, and obviously I'm in-depth guy, I'm analysis guy, if I would talk about a whole season of something, it's going to take some time, but people are going to be a lot more interested in that, even if I have to split it into 2 or 3 videos, even if it's, you know, an hour and a half long, like my top 10 list for 60s Batman was, or the 90s Spider-Man series, or the first season of Daredevil. There's going to be more interest in that. People care more about that than they are episode to episode, and it's so much more work where there's other things I can't work on, like Rewind, if I'm doing Crypt the Freaks episode to episode. Even just doing the commentaries like I was doing, like, that doesn't take as much time. It's all off the cuff, and, you know, all I have to do is watch the episode and take some notes and then do the commentary. And those were doing okay, view count-wise. I was kind of surprised there was as much interest in that as there was, but I'm only posting 3 to 4 videos a week now, and if I'm posting that, then there's other things I can't put up that more people are going to care about. I can't do as many vaults, can't do as many movie commentaries, so I took a poll, and it was a 70 to 30 split as far as whether people wanted to see episode to episode continue, or in any form, or season overviews. And I kind of also prefer the season overview idea at this point, just because it sounds more realistic. So the big question now is just how realistic is it to get that done within the next, I don't know, 3 years? Like, how quickly can I get that out? In a perfect world, I'd love to just sit down and get Crypt the Freaks knocked out, because I've been at that show also for almost a decade, and I just got through the 2nd season, and so it would be, and I know there's enough interest in that it makes sense to finish it in some capacity. It's going to feel a little bit like starting over. If I go back and do season overviews, I'm not going to do a new one for 1, because I'm pretty happy with how that one turned out. There is a season overview for 1 that I did after I did all the episodes, but I would have to do 2 now, so I'd have to go back through 2 again, and then I'd have to start 3 again and go through that. So I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't want it to take a decade. I don't want that to be an end of the 2020s thing, but it's also a thing I want to do next decade. One goal I've got is, and I don't know how realistic this is, and it's not necessarily the most important thing. I don't want anybody to panic and think that, like, I'm going to start getting a lot more commercial and turning the channel into something it's not, just for the sake of getting views. Like, I almost hesitate to even say this, but truthfully, this is a goal of mine, and it's mostly just to see if I can do it with as niche a format as I do here. I guess we have multiple formats, but, like, just the, you know, in-depth story analysis thing, like, as niche as that is, where I've got, like, the much longer videos, as far as Rewind goes, I'd like to see if we can get the channel to 100,000 subscribers. I've never had the ambition to be like a big, giant, top-tier channel. I know that's not really realistic with what I do. I don't mean to sell myself short and say that nothing that anything is impossible, but I've been at it 10 years, and we're at 30,000 subscribers, and I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with the strong base that we've got. We have a wonderful community, and I'm not greedy about this. I'm not, like, desperate for new subscribers, but some of this is just, if we got it to 100,000 subscribers, it would probably be a little bit more lucrative on my end. Like, this is the thing I do for a full-time job, and it would probably be a little bit more stable. I'm able to treat it more like a full-time job now than I ever have before. I do decently well, and I'm really grateful to you guys for helping me make that happen, certainly. But there's a lot more that I could do. If we with you know, more ambitious video projects and things like that, if we got it you know, even more stable than it is, I guess, financially, and if we could eventually get it to 100,000 subscribers, it would help that, but it would also be just kind of cool to get that plaque from YouTube, I guess, you know? Like, I've been doing this for a long time. It would be neat to finally have that kind of validation from YouTube. Again, I don't need that. That's a dirty word. I don't like that word, validation. But like, sometimes I'll get comments from people that are like, well, Cap, sometimes you barely break 1,000 views, or you don't even break 1,000 views on certain videos. I don't know how you call this a full-time job. I don't know why you put so much time and effort into it when you can't, when you've been at it for 10 years and you only do that well. And my response to that has always been, it remains amazing to me, astounding to me, that anybody cares what I have to say. And if 700, 800, 1,000 people click on a video to listen to me ramble as long as I do about a superhero movie or about Star Trek or about a comic book, whatever it is, people show up to live shows and they put in super chats just because they want to talk to me directly. I can't say no to that. I can't, and it's not, with that, it's not the money thing, it's just that people care that much. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me that the number is small potatoes compared to big, giant channels. But at the same time, it's a goal. I'm kind of a goal-oriented guy, and it would be a lot of fun to see if we could do it. In 10 years, we've built the channel to where it is without begging people to subscribe, without... We do a Patreon, and I try to give people cool stuff with Patreon, but I don't feel like I'm begging for money. I try not to do that. And so it's kind of just become what it's become while we're throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And it's really neat to me that it's gotten even as large as it has, just through the content, just through the content and the interaction. And I'd like to continue to do that, and obviously, it being a business at the same time, I have to strategize certain things to a degree, but I don't want to compromise to the point where I'm not making what I want to make, and where I'm not putting out good content, where I'm just putting out whatever will get clicks. I don't mean to do that. It's just a priority issue. So sometimes there are things that I can't put out because I know enough people aren't going to watch, and I need to prioritize something else that I also want to do, but that I know that there's more interest in as well. So, you know, there's a balancing act there. But anyway, in the next decade, 100,000 subscribers, maybe some folks will think that it would be insane to spend 20 years to get to 100,000 subscribers, but I would be happy with that number, and I'm happy with where we are. It's just, we do have positive growth. Like I said, we're not stagnated. We're not, so it seems to make sense to have a goal with that, and it would be neat to get to 100,000 subscribers. I would like to do another narrative review project of some kind, and I hate that the last one I tried to do, I had to shut down. That was Batman year. That was Batman, or Batcap, the 48-hour Halloween. I've always wanted to find a way to get back to that, and it just has not been in the cards. That was the sequel to Spawn year. I put out 4 episodes. The folks that watched it seemed to really like it. I got a lot of positive feedback. I got some disappointment from people when I stopped posting them. Several people said they thought that it was shaping up to be better than Spawn year. The production values were better. I had a better sense of where to put the camera, maybe knew what I was doing better. I'm sure the acting wasn't any better because I didn't have Vince there the whole time, and he's like an actual actor, and I'm a complete beginner, novice. I mean, you know, I made 365 episodes of Spawn year. I do not have any natural acting talent. Did the absolute best that I could, but I had so much fun making that show, and I'd love to do it with material that doesn't make me want to blow my brains out every time I read it. And that was Nightfall, and I was having so much fun sinking my teeth into Nightfall, and eventually I will do something. I guess that's another goal, but eventually I will do something with Nightfall. It won't be issue to issue like I was doing with that, of course, but something on the Vault, something extensive on Nightfall. And maybe in the not-too-distant future, maybe I'll try to finally do that sometime soon. But anyway, the long and short with Batcap was it wasn't getting viewed the way I was hoping it would, and I just could not find the time, especially with the baby coming, and after the baby got here, to work on that and Rewind. It was just impossible, and even other projects, like it just couldn't be done. Eric got busy. He was going to be a part of that, and he and I were not going to have time to film together. That was part of it. My kids were getting older, and they were playing versions of themselves that were a year younger, and then it became 2 years younger, and it just wasn't going to work if I didn't hurry up and get it all shot. My wife was in that show. She got too busy, and of course, she got pregnant, and then we had the baby, and it was impossible to shoot. And so the whole premise was going to have to be completely rearranged and retooled. I was going to have to start over. I was essentially going to have to soft reboot it, or just reboot it. And so I wasn't excited about that, and so anyway, that's the reason that show ended up halting, and it's just been impossible to go back and continue it the way that it was. So when I say I'd like to do another narrative review project, I want to make a movie, and I just don't have the perfect subject. I want to do something, it wouldn't be this, but something akin to the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, in the sense that it would be centered around a review, although it probably wouldn't be a review that just happened at the end, because my reviews are lengthy, and I really sink my teeth into stuff, and it wouldn't be a thing that would be just through the credits at the end. But I'd love to do basically Spawn Year in miniature, where, you know, kind of like Spawn Year the movie, except it wouldn't be like condensing a bunch of stuff I made. It would be conceived initially as a movie. I'd love to come up with the right, I just don't have the right subject. Something like a singular thing, or a short series that I could review. I didn't think of that. I could do a TV show or something that I could review within a narrative conceit. And it might not be a direct sequel to Spawn Year. It might just be its own thing that's kind of reminiscent of Spawn Year. But I'd love to make, you know, a feature, like an hour and a half, 2-hour movie that is centered around a narrative thing. And then if that went well, we could maybe do another one down the line. But that's a thing that would be a little bit easier on my schedule to be able to make, but I think also that more people would be interested in, and would get looked at more. So if anybody has good ideas for what the subject of that could be, let me know. I'll consider it anything and everything. I guess Nightfall could be the thing for that as well, but I think the review itself would have to be so long. You know, if I was looking at all 3 parts of that, it would be difficult to do that, and even writing in any less than 45 minutes to an hour. And I would think that the review content would have to be a smaller fraction than that of the whole movie. But anyway, anybody have any ideas about that, let me know. That's the thing I really want to do. I also want to make another documentary. I did a documentary while I was making Spawn Year, which was the most insane thing I ever did. That was 5 years ago. I don't know where all that stamina and energy came from. I'm still a pretty energetic guy. I don't know how I got through all that. I don't know how I got it all done. We made the Midwestern panels, like 3 months before I finished writing and editing Spawn Year. And it was maybe the project I'm most proud of. It and Spawn Year, I kind of fighting for that title, I guess. But I'm really happy with that documentary. And at the same time, I learned so much doing it that I know I could do that. I know I could do it better, at least visually. I'm really happy with the content with that movie and what we ended up saying with it, and all of that, and just the sheer amount of information about comic book stores and the comic book industry that we got jam-packed in what I think is a pretty entertaining movie. A 2-hour movie, which should be too long for a documentary like that, and I never got that complaint from anybody. And I'm really happy with how it's done. People are still watching, and I still hear about it occasionally. And that was 5 years ago, and I've been wanting to do another documentary ever since then, especially just to kind of prove to myself that I can do it better, that I kind of have a better sense of what I'm doing. I still don't want to say I know what I'm doing, but I have more of an inkling. I have a better sense of where to put the camera and how to mic things and to make sure and, you know, use lighting at all. Bringing a lighting rig, good idea. Should have done that more. In my defense, we were on the road and did not have space enough for everything. But anyway, that's another thing where I just don't have the right topic. I've not figured it out. And I need something that I'm as passionate about and can get as excited about doing and spending, you know, half a year of my life working on as I did the comic book stores, because that ended up being a more daunting task than I thought. Like I said, we did that while we made Spawn Year. We shot it while we made Spawn Year. I didn't actually put it out until a few months afterwards. The editing process on that was unbelievable. I had so many hours to comb through, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, but it was it was putting a puzzle together, and I'm no good at puzzles. It was very difficult to figure out what the tone and pacing of that thing needed to be, but that was also what was exhilarating about it, was not knowing exactly what it was while I was making it, and then sitting down and compiling it together, and I almost said making it into what I wanted to make it, but it was kind of more letting it speak to me and figure out what it wanted to be. That's what it felt like, and I want to do something like that again. I really do, but I just don't know what exactly it would be. And of course, for me personally, this isn't as much about the channel, but it can affect the channel. It can be a channel thing. I want to write more novels. I was always a writer first. That was the reason I started the channel in the first place. I've talked about this before, but I was kind of hoping to maybe build my own audience that I could sell books to, and I've never really done a lot of that. Like, I have an audience now. I don't know how many of you guys are actually interested in reading anything I'm writing, but like, I've got the Geekvolution community now. I could be trying to do that more, and this has kind of become the bread and butter. It's kind of taken over my life, and so I wrote a book a couple years ago that I've still not published yet, and I was looking into traditional publishing for a while. I've opted finally to not try to go that way anymore and to just do it myself for a couple of random, boring, uninteresting reasons. I've not been able to, and one of them is financial. I just have not been able to get that self-published and get it out in print. And I've been trying to decide if I want to focus more on audiobooks, because I can read the things myself, I can make them videos, I can just read them on camera and post them, and I don't even know if I would want to do that in sections, in separate videos. I might just post it all as one thing, and it might be kind of interesting to see if there would be any interest in that, or more interest in that even than print. And I don't need to sell books necessarily. I'm kind of more okay with it being part of what I'm doing already. And books could be print books could be an option, certainly. And we could have a print-on-demand thing, and I could do a few of those. But the last time I published a book, I sold maybe 100, 150, which was okay, but it's a lot of... It's kind of like the DVD was for the documentary. Like, I don't think I'll do that again, because unless it comes out and people are really excited about that and a bunch of people want one, just because it was an expense, and it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of time and effort. And if I could just, like, I have a platform where I can just post things and then move on to the next thing. And that's what happened with my book. Is I wrote it and I was happy with it, and eventually I did a revision on it. And I've not gotten it out, but I kind of just moved on to the next thing. I was kind of just ready to keep doing other things. And I haven't started on another novel because I feel weird about doing that before I put this other one up. But I had this very strange thing with my book where I was kind of satisfied with just the fact that I had done it. I wrote a whole novel in 8 weeks, and I'd never done that before. It was kind of like the National Novel Writing Month thing. Not quite that fast, of course, but that's what it felt like. And I was like, okay, I did it, and I'm happy with it, and the book is fun, and hardly anybody's looked at it. And that's not like me. Like I don't usually write for myself, but this one, it just ended up not being as important to me that anybody saw it. But people have been asking me about it because I kept talking about it, and I still haven't made it available for you guys to read. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do that so that everybody can look at it, and I may do an ebook kind of thing, just reel on the cheap, make a thing that you could read on a tablet or an e-reader, and maybe do a print version eventually if there's any interest in that, if anybody wants that, just to have it, just to collect it, or because they only like to read that way, and then some kind of an audio version. I was gonna try to get that out for last Christmas. It didn't happen, so maybe this Christmas. I mean, maybe I should just prioritize that and try to make the thing finally happen. But anyway, so that's the big stuff. Those are the big things, I guess, short-term and long-term, that I really want to accomplish. Leave your comments and let me know if you have any advice or ideas for any of the things that I am talking about. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a bunch for watching. I'll see you again very shortly with more Geekvolution videos. Of course, like I said, streamlining now to pretty much 3 videos a week, sometimes 4 if there's time-sensitive stuff that just really absolutely has to come out. Like this video, like this will be an extra video because otherwise it'll never get posted. And so you're focusing mostly on rewinds and then Captain Logan Show, and then the paid requests, which are comic vaults and commentaries, and occasionally I'll do commentaries and vaults that are not requested, of course. But we've got quite a few folks that are giving us cool suggestions for those right now on Patreon, and so that's the news. That's fit to print. That's what's going on. Anyway, thanks a bunch for watching, everybody, and I will see you again soon. I'm Captain Logan, and thank you guys so much for all of your support and for watching, and for your ideas and your suggestions, and really appreciate everybody. Bye, folks.